little bit better? Okay. So I have to apologize. This is kind of embarrassing on one hand, but I'm sick. So I have a second grader, and all that stuff's going around. So yesterday I woke up with the whole, and today I'm kind of feeling pretty down. So my energy is low. I'm letting you know that's why. And I have some homeopathics I'm taking right now, so I'm going to have to kind of take those in between. And so I just want to set that as a stage of what's going on. So how many of you have done a cleanse before? Okay, excellent. How many of you are familiar with the store? You've been here before. I know there's a lot of similar. Anybody new, I should say? Nobody? Okay. So I just want to let people know that if you decide to do this program, that if you have any questions, you can take my card, and it has my email, or you can call on my voicemail if there's any questions that arise. But for the moment, I'm just going to go through some general detoxing information, and then for this one in particular, we have these, they're called, I guess, patient guides, and it walks you through the whole plan. Now, I intended on doing this a few weeks ago, but then there was the fair that came up, and I said, probably not going to eat the best there, although I didn't eat horrible, but I had the corn and a piece of pizza, and that's not allowed on this. And my birthday was in the midst of there too, so I actually have just started it this morning. Not a good time when you're sick, but hey. I just want to see how it goes. For me, I've done many other cleanses before. I did one that I might do maybe sometime in January with another company. It's a very good one. It's a 10-day detox, though, so it's kind of a little more rapid than this one here. But that was nice, but I have to say that I really wasn't prepped. So that's what I want you to do with this, is you have to prep yourself. So you're going, if you do decide to go with this, you have to spend this week sort of prepping as far as getting certain things weaned out of your diet and getting your house stocked up, which I'll talk about. But I wasn't prepped for that last one. Also, I am more of a vegetarian. I do have eggs and salmon, but the last one was heavier on the meats, and it couldn't have fish, and you couldn't have nuts, and you couldn't have eggs, and that was really strict for me because there were a lot of protein sources for me there. And I wasn't prepared for how I was going to fill that in the gaps. So this time I went through, and what I did was, these are all around my mouth, those little pellets. These are the sample menus for week 1 or 3, and I'll go through this more when I hand these out to you guys. But I highlighted things in here that I needed to buy or substitute for myself to make sure that I had enough of these things on hand. So, like for instance, this morning it said the Mediclear to drink as a smoothie or water, fruit juice. I put it in unsweetened almond milk, and I used it in this shaker cup because I'm pretty, what do I want to say, lazy when it comes to stuff like that. I just want to grab and go. But I have to let you know from the last one that I did, after I drank that one, you do it once a day, then you do it twice a day, then you ramp it up for 3 days, and you're doing it 3 times a day. You're just kind of gagging it down after a while because at first it tastes good, and then you get sick of it. So you really need to look at what they have in here for the ideas for smoothie ideas. They have a whole page dedicated to that, so you can do that. And I had another client that did this, and I asked her for some thoughts, and she was going to come, but she couldn't come today. So she said, really, what she thought was great is if you did add a fruit into this in the blender, that it really changed it up. And keeping it really cold is another thing because it doesn't taste that great. When you smell it at first, it smelled sort of like cake batter. But when you taste it, it's more of, it's got a tint of an orange vanilla flavor to it, very tint of that. So anything that you add on here, I'm sure would make it taste much better. And like I said, after drinking it 3 times throughout the day for that week, you're going to get sick of just gulping that down. So again, I'll go through that when I hand those out. So let me turn off the lights. So we're going to do a little bit on general detoxing. And if anybody's been to my talks before on detox, I did change it up a little bit. it's more tailored towards this. So first off, what is a toxin? Substances that have potential to cause harm or have a detrimental effect on the function or structure within the cells. Basically, it goes to the mitochondria and the DNA and starts causing problems. Like with organics, the one thing that they did find, they said, yes, the pesticides actually disrupt the immune system. So that's getting in there and causing what might have been a healthy immune system to now not be able to fend off other diseases or autoimmune. So why do we want to cleanse? The liver, the lungs, the kidneys, the lymph, the blood, GI tract, and skin work together to eliminate toxins. So if we had a pristine world, which we no longer have, I don't think any place that they found that's pristine, because they are now finding DDT all over the world in the bottoms of oceans still, and that hasn't been around since the 60s, I believe. So it's ubiquitous. And we're being bombarded with more and more chemicals that are being released daily, unfortunately. So we have them in the forms of the heavy metals, the liver, microbial, and metabolic. So the heavy metals will come from things like your lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, nickel, and aluminum. They're also coming, the lead comes from the pesticide sprays and the cooking utensils, cadmium and lead from the cigarette smoke, mercury from dental fillings, as well as fish and cosmetics, and aluminum from antacids and cookware. And there's many more. So the liver toxins, your liver is your number one detoxer in the body. And we're constantly being challenged every day, just with everyday things that our body has to break down, let alone stuff that we might be putting on our skin or breathing in. So they have to be neutralized. They include things like alcohol, chemicals, drugs, solvents, formaldehyde, pesticides, herbicides, food additives. I mean, even paint fumes, furniture, rugs have the off-gassing of chemicals that we're not even aware of, or most people aren't. So in 1999 to 2000, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention tested approximately 2,500 people for 116 different chemicals. And every person in the study, regardless of the age, location, or lifestyle, tested positive for environmental toxins. And we'll talk a little bit about where do they go in the body. So even chemicals, as we were saying, such as PCBs, have not been produced for over 30 years. It's still around the environment. And now they're looking at things. I remember when my daughter was a baby, we were having the BPA-free bottles and the containers and whatnot. Well, I thought, well, that's great. That's safe to use that. Thankfully, she breastfed predominantly, so I didn't have to worry that much about it. But even still, they were finding in the cord blood of infants over 200 different chemicals they were born with, because it was within the mother, no matter how healthy they were, whatever you're exposed to. So in those bottles, they said, well, yeah, they didn't have those BPA in there, but it had other chemicals. So it's like, great. You know, they hop on one, and then they just kind of downplay anything else. So we need to, do the best that we can. So we also have the metabolic toxins. So those are the compounds like ammonia that result from the body breaking down your proteins. And the microbial toxins. So these are produced by the bacteria and yeast in the gut, and they're absorbed into the bloodstream as well. And then you have the petrochemicals, and this is predominantly for, I think we have all women actually in here, so for you guys, this is one of the biggest things that we need to really be aware of. They're in our air, water, and food, and these petrochemicals are everywhere, and these disrupt our hormones. Okay, they come from plastics, clothing, medicines, foods, soap, pesticide, perfumes, insecticides, herbicides, or other things that disrupt the hormones as well. So to avoid these specifically, you need to buy your organic meats and dairy, or at the very least free range. Organic fruits and vegetables, because you're not going to be exposed to the insecticides and pesticides. And I have a slide on there for the EWG.org, the Environmental Working Group. They have their Dirty Dozen, Clean 15 list. So if you can't afford to have all of your fruits and vegetables organic, those are the ones specifically you should have. And I have that listed on here. Buy environmentally safe products. Do not routinely drink from hot beverages like the plastic cups or microwave plastic containers, because if you have some sort of a fat meat sauce in the Tupperware containers, put into the microwave, it ends up leaching into the food. Okay, so there's how we get more exposure. So, again, where do the toxins go? They don't just disappear. The EPA estimates that our bodies cannot metabolize over 20,000 of these chemicals. So they're stored in our fat cells. So this is also a way where some people do detoxes, and once you are able to mobilize those toxins out of the fat cells, all they do is expand and shrink. That's what the fat cells do. Okay, so you can mobilize those toxins out, and then the fat cells will shrink down. So it's not like this is touted as a weight loss, but if there are a lot of toxins, this will actually help that, move it along, so then you can start with the weight loss process. So studies indicate that most of us have between 400 and 800 chemical residues stored in our fat cells in our bodies. So they create a toxic overload. Enzyme dysfunction, nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, brain damage, other chronic illnesses. Signs of the toxicity, including fatigue, headaches, poor concentration, depression, muscle and joint pain, skin irritation, poor complexion, sluggish immune function, even weight gain. Other signs are allergies, autoimmune, and reproductive disorders. And so those toxin overload marked sensitivity to environmental chemicals, odors, and medications. A lot of people, it'll just be a tumble-down effect. Something will bother them, and then if the gut is not regulating and functioning correctly, then something else will come into their environment, and then they won't be able to tolerate that, and it just continues down the road. So we need to work on repairing the gut, taking out those inflammatory things, which that's what this is focused on, is taking out the top allergens, things that your body might be reacting to that you may not even know. I mean, we've had people taking off citrus, and they said, well, I've eaten that all my life, and I haven't had any problem with it that I knew of. And then, sure enough, when they were taken off of it, that fatigue or the headaches that they were getting had cleared up. But it was only because they took it away and then realized, oh, that was the thing. So when we get towards the end of the 3 weeks, which is really cool, I like how they have a food reintroduction list. So you go through and you pick one food, and then you go day 1 through 3, and this will be in our follow-up next month that we'll go through, because you'll have spent this week getting prepared, then you'll have the 3 weeks, and I'll already have been on to where I'm adding things back in to see how I'm reacting. Now, I've done this before without doing a cleanse. I've taken things out and then added them back in and noticed a marked difference. When you're surrounded with it and constantly getting that, you're not always going to be able to feel the difference, but once you take it out and then try to add it back in, then you do feel the difference typically. So the process, it refers to a metabolic pathway in which the cells transform the toxic substances into relatively inert metabolites that can be excreted via the urine or the bile. And since the majority of them are fat-soluble, and they're stored in high-fat tissues and organs when not detoxified and excreted promptly. So most toxic substances are fat-soluble and must be converted to water-soluble before they can be excreted. And this is done in a 2-step process where it's called phase 1, phase 2, or glucuronidation, and then there's another word for, I can't remember the second one. So most of it takes place in the liver, and about 25% occurs in the small intestine. That's why that's also very important to work on healing up the gut. A lot of the things that I deal with a lot of my clients, we're looking first at the gut, okay, because that's where 80% or more of your immune system is. So if you have yeast overgrowth, candida issues, food allergies, other allergies, I really start looking at the gut and try to heal that up. So this is basically what's going on. So the toxin comes in, there are enzymes that act upon it, make it more of an intermediate compound, and then it goes into the phase 2 enzymes that act upon it. So it's kind of like breaking it down first, and then that's the intermediate, and then you add back on and package it back up like a garbage bag and then excrete it out. Okay? The intermediate compound is much more volatile than the toxin coming in. And why would that be? Because it's been broken down now. It's a different chemical structure. So A lot of people are very high in phase 1 and very low in phase 2. And there's a lot of foods and environmental things that can increase and decrease phase 1, phase 2. But I didn't get into too much of that. These are some of the ones that support. So as you'll see, phase 1, it's heavy on the B vitamins. And then I highlighted glutathione. But that's another thing, too, that's very important that we talk about in here. As far as glutathione is a very powerful detoxifier that our liver produces. Things like N-acetylcysteine and vitamin C free it up so it can cycle around and grab those toxins again and send them on through. Flavonoids, those are coming from your fruits and vegetables. Phospholipids from your fish oils and flax oils. Phase 2, high on the protein over here that I've highlighted. Methyl donors, those are your sulfur products, your cruciferous vegetables, your onions, your garlic, things like that. So that's how foods, which I'll go through a little bit about the foods, but they have a lot of that stuff in here, and that's what this is all about, for supporting that phase 1, phase 2. Like I said, in here it has a lot of vitamins and minerals, and it has glutamine, which helps heal up the gut lining, MSM, which is in the methyl sulfur category, N-acetylcysteine, which frees up that glutathione, and you also have N-acetylcysteine over there. Glutathione reduced is in here too. And then it has things like green tea, which works on both phase 1, phase 2. And there's a lot more. Like I said, there's other proteins as well in here. So it's a really, really nice comprehensive formula. So, as I've already said, both phase 1, phase 2 have a lot of nutritional foods that you can relate to help upregulate or downregulate it. Phase 2, highly dependent on adequate protein, which that's why this is giving you a protein source. Again, foods for detoxing, you can add this in, and they do have it in here. As you look through, and maybe I should hand these out so you guys can look through while I'm talking about it. You're welcome. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just have you pass that down. Yes. If you take already a lot of supplements, but then you add a lot of food on it, there you go. I just passed it down. And that is already in there. You would back off on that and then just, follow this. Thank you. 2, 3. Yep. And 2 back here. I know it's hard to see with the light off, but if you look to page 12 and 13, this is what it looks like here. Foods to include, foods to avoid. Okay, so this complements that, different things that you should include in the diet and avoid. And you can look at that a little bit more later. But the cruciferous vegetables, again, they help with balancing phase 1 and phase 2. So they're just good in general. Your broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. The limonene-containing fruits, so your oranges, tangerines, lemons. Did you need me to go back? No? You good? Okay. So foods and spices also. Your B vitamins, which, again, heavily in here, so you wouldn't need to do that. Curcumin found in turmeric helps with phase 1, phase 2. Sulfur-containing, as I mentioned already, egg yolks. But again, in this, you're avoiding eggs. Onions and garlic. Beets are great for liver detoxing as well. Phenomenal for that. Also, there are some other ones, some herbal detoxes. Milk thistle, which I don't think is in here. Rosemary and green tea. And green tea is in here. Okay, so there are a lot of different types of cleanses. People come in, and that's why I wanted to have this, because I've had so many people come in and say, I don't even know what to do. I look at the wall of stuff. I've heard things on TV. I have no idea what to do. There are so many things that you can do. We have all different cleanse kits out there, everything from a 3-day up to a 30-day supply. People have come in and done juice fasts where they've just done it for the weekend. We have the green mung bean soup. Has anybody done that one? I have not yet. But that's out by our bulk station where Dr. Steve Wexler, Carol likes to do that one on like a Sunday and just eat that throughout the day, and it's just a small little detox, and I haven't tried it yet. Chlorophyll, which that's what I'm drinking over here, my nice green drink. Teas, there are detox teas out there. Homeopathics, we have some nice ones by Aquaflora that I use for some candida. Then I go on to a heavy metal, and then I go back to a candida cleansing. There's also, like I said, specifically just for liver. If someone comes in and has a fatty liver, we get them towards a liver one. Candida, which I deal with a lot of. Heavy metals, which I deal with a lot of. There's specific ones out there, smoking ones as well, that deal with the getting rid of the heavy metals as well as dealing with the cravings and whatnot. So, like I said, there's all different ranges of length of time. This one I just thought was really cool because I personally like protein drinks. It's a quick, easy way to get something in the morning. And I liked how they laid it all out for you, and they gave you ideas for smoothies to change it up with. They give you recipe ideas. And when I looked at this before for a client, in there, I don't think it's in this new one, but in one of the older patient guides, they had used the recipes from this book. And so it prompted me to buy this book, and they had a kids one as well. So they have some great, great recipes in here. It's called the Whole Life Nutrition Cookbook. So if anybody wants to look at that later, you can. I have it up here. So I just thought it was really comprehensive, and then I like the fact that I have a lot of people with sensitivities, and they don't know how to go about, hey, what am I reacting to? I have this issue, I have this fatigue, and we tease it out. Is it due to medications? Is it due to something else? And then if I feel like this is the direction for them, we would go into this. And I liked how they ramped in foods every 3 days. You were ramping in a new food. And on top of it, if you look at that, see, I have the, page 20 and 21, where they'll say days 1 through 3, food introduced. How are you feeling? How is your gut feeling? How is your bowel function? Headaches, congestion, skin, energy level, joint pain, muscle pain. You can react in all different ways and really not know that that's what's going on. But when you start introducing this back in, people say, wow, that's really, I think, what's causing that. So additional ways you can cleanse, there's the infrared saunas, there's Epsom salt baths, there's detox foot baths. A lot of different ways, again, that you can cleanse. You can add this in addition if you like. Now, this is the important point. I have a few slides on this. So if you've never cleansed, begin slowly. Prep work, very, very important. I mean, I personally didn't have anything. I went through and highlighted on, let's see what page it was. It must have been in the foods to avoid. Yeah, I circled, okay, what am I going to have a problem with? Eggs. Cheese, that's another source I have. I use organic cheese as a protein source. Tuna fish, so sometimes I'll have that on the salads as protein. And I drink a green tea that's caffeine, but it's once in a while, so I'm not a caffeine person. So I really didn't have too many things that I had to worry about as far as getting out of my diet. But if you're looking at this, you might not even want to start this week. You may want to give yourself a couple weeks if you have some things you need to ramp out. If it's sugar, if you're really big into sugar, take some time. If you have a lot of caffeine that week, you might get a headache. So slowly ramp those things out. And also, like I said, prepping as far as your food items to buy and have on hand. So generally cleansing we have at the beginning of fall and spring. So this is the perfect time. Take it off. The next one, like I said, I'll probably do is going to be after the new year, because what do? We hit Halloween, then we hit Thanksgiving, then we hit Christmas, and kind of take it, New Year's, and it takes a downward spiral, and then we're like, we got to get back on track again. So that will not be the typical time, but actually a lot of people will do cleanses at that point in time because they want to get back on track again. So I'll probably be having that in January. So another important point, if you are not having regular, daily, once at the minimum, up to 2 to 3 times a day of bowel movements, you need to make sure your bowels are moving before. Because what happens is, if they are not moving, you're releasing all these toxins. And how are you going to feel if you are not able to get them out? You're going to feel crappy, yeah. And you're going to have more die-off effects. And if it's sitting and stagnating there in the bowels, also, they will reabsorb those toxins back up through the body again. So you want to make sure you are going daily. So things like water, fiber, probiotics, the oils, and magnesium are some of the ones I use with people to make sure the bowels are going daily. Okay, caution, as it talks in here too about medications, this is one of the ones that I found didn't have interactions with medications because it doesn't have any herbs in there. It's just vitamins, minerals, and some other amino acids and whatnot. So if you do have a concern, though, like I said, my card is here. You can have an appointment with me, or if I can't get you in, bless you, we can talk on the phone and I can look at the medications. Do not stop any medications. We may just have to alter the times of when you're taking them because typically this helps clean the liver out, so it might speed the medication through quicker, so it would be less effective. So, all right. So I'm not going to get too much into this because I'm sure you're aware of all the implications of not having organics, as I said. The Dirty Dozen, they found, were tested after being washed. I can't tell you how often people say, well, can't you just wash them off? No. It's through the whole spring process. So it's incorporated in that cellular structure. They actually found apples that were creating more allergens in people when they looked at organic apples versus the conventional sprayed ones. It created this higher MALD1 allergen, and people were reacting and having more apple allergies as a result because the apple was like, I'm trying to protect myself here from whatever this is that's going on. So not healthy. So these foods in particular should be only organic. And this is the latest list that I know of. You can, like I said, go to ewg.org and look up the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15, and that will be on there. But this, like I said, and these are ones that are recommended to eat in this cleanse. So you want to make sure that they are all organic. So you're not adding in extra things for the body to have to work hard on cleansing out. You want to cleanse out what's already in there, not what you're adding in addition to it. So they also showed that people who ate 5 fruits and vegetables a day from the Dirty Dozen consumed an average of 10 pesticides a day. So if you were trying to get your 5 fruits and vegetables, it was strive for 5, 9 is divine. That was the whole program that they were trying to push. So if you were doing that, you were exposing yourself to all these different pesticides. So eating this Clean 15 reduces your exposure to pesticides by 90%, exposing you to only 2 a day if you choose these, which they usually have a thicker skin. The way that they're grown, like onions, they have the compounds that animals don't want to go towards because of the volatile oils. So these you want to make sure, again, you don't have to, but if you want to keep your grocery bill down, you can just, and again, that's all on the ewg.org. So for this cleanse, as I said, prepping is big. Compile a grocery list for what you need for weeks 1 through 3. So what I did was I sat down and, if I remember where I put it, ewg.org. Somewhere in here. I don't know if it's in this other. What's that? Yeah, it keeps changing. Okay. So I took this little sheet and I looked at, okay, weeks 1 and 3 are pretty similar. you're ramping up and you're ramping down. Week 2 is when you're drinking it 3 times a day. So I wrote down what I don't have, what I do like to eat on this plan, and what I need to get. So that's how I prepped, and I made sure that I had these things on hand. Some things I don't still have on hand, so I have to get them today. So look at substitutions again for vegetarians. You can go towards the lentils and the beans, and there are nuts, except peanuts are not allowed. Getting yourself more secure with the smoothie recipes. I did buy a bag of frozen fruits that I was going to try. The peach cooler, as well as they have the apple lemon, so I have all those things on hand. So I'm going to try some of those that I thought were nice. So stock your kitchen, and like I said again, if you need to, if you have questions on this, schedule an appointment with me to go through this before, if you have any concerns. So it's recommended with any cleanse to keep your exercise very minimal, doing light things like a gentle yoga, some walking, things like that, because your energy may be down. Actually, some people, your energy may be higher. So it just depends. You have to see how it goes. I've done some before. I've done some candida cleanses where initially I was a little low. I had some breakouts on my face. After about 4 days, I just progressively felt better and better and better. But some people feel horrible, so you have to be prepared. And if you do feel horrible, I would say just back off on it for a day of the product that you're drinking, because this is what's really heavily detoxing the liver. And then just let your liver gently cleanse itself through that day and then resume it again. Things to help out also, dry brushing. Has anybody done that before? It's really nice because your lymph system, I thought exercise really helped the lymph system, but I was told no. Mainly things like rebounders, the small mini trampolines, get your lymph system going. And that's your garbage collecting unit, okay? So you know when you push on the back of your neck and you can feel stuff drain down, or if you push on certain areas on your back, that's where the lymph system is all tied in. Yes? Yes. Yes, I do. I know there was a woman in here, I think it was last month. It was in our newsletter. And I wrote it down so you can see me after. And there's also a woman, she's an RN. Thank you, Barbara Karosik. She's done it for several years. And that was the first and only one that I've ever had. And I thought it was going to be this like real intense massage. Little did I know. I remember when I was sitting there, she was just doing like light little pressures here and there. And I was just like, what is this? And then all of a sudden I felt a rippling through my abdomen, and I thought, I'm not going to say anything because I thought it was gas. And so she's talking to me and she's pushing, and she said, and sometimes you feel like a little rippling through your abdomen. And I went, I just felt that. I said I wasn't going to say anything. She said that's basically where your main drainage is, through your abdomen. And I said, wow, that was so cool. And then she did some light pressing. I think it was on my calves, and my feet felt like they were on fire. So it was just very, very, very interesting and cool. And so she's one, and then I know another one, too, that we just had in here. But Barbara I know well. She's done it for several years. Did you have a question? Right. Yeah, you want to start arms. You got to go this way towards the heart. Okay, always towards the heart. Legs up towards the heart. Okay, we have the dry brushes here, and I started to do it. I was kind of sporadic at doing it, but it does feel nice because it does, exfoliate a little bit, and it just was a nice little stimulation to help out. Yes. Yes. And how do you spell Barbara's last name? Korosec. K or C? Korosec. I think it's C. Karosik. Who's that? Joyce Phillips. She does lymph and. Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, so a few people walked in. I wanted to make sure that you all had the brochures. How many people don't have them? There were a couple that came in. Okay. Thanks. Can you hand one she has? Yeah. Okay. So, also deep breathing, very, very important for not only relaxation, but also it helps with moving the lymph along. Does a lot of things. So, help heal the body also with reducing your stress during this time. Try not to as much as you can. It's so funny that, things work in a specific way. This is 21 days, and I was working with trying to not yell at my daughter for different things that she makes me, just poop. So I found this, it was 21 days because it said 21 days to make a habit. And it said 21 days of things to follow instead of yelling. And typically I'm not, but I have to be really pushed, and then so I said I just don't want to go there anymore. And it was really nice how it blocked it out. And I said, wow, I'm going to do that right along with this. So I'm going to do 21 days of that along with 21 days of this. So hopefully we'll have a habit formed after this. So going for a walk, listening to music that's very soothing, relaxing, meditating, very important. Deep breathing, again, as I said, that's very, very cleansing and healing. Relaxing in a hot bath, too, or even a hot shower. Taking a yoga class. Trying something new. Yeah. Yes, definitely. No, not at all, no. Well, I know certain companies like Young Living have certain cleanses so I wouldn't do that with this, but if you had certain things like lavender to put on your feet or peppermint up on your temples, whichever. Yeah. Thieves, this time of year, thieves everywhere. I should douse myself with thieves. Yeah, you can definitely use those, not a problem. So sleep is very important too. At the very bottom, we detox when we sleep. Okay, so it's very important to make sure that we sleep really well. Now, interestingly enough, I know I wasn't feeling well yesterday. I woke up with a sore throat, and my chest was starting to hurt, and I started taking almost everything that I had on hand. Then last night I wasn't sleeping well because I was getting sort of achy, and I was dreaming of all things. It was so funny. Chickens chasing after me. Now I have chickens, but I want to know what the symbolism is for that. They were trying to peck at me, and I had a bat that wouldn't let go of my finger, and I thought, what does that mean? So I remembered there were a few different crazy dreams throughout, but it was stopping me from having a really nice restful sleep. Typically when I take magnesium, I really get a solid through the night sleep, but I failed to take that last night. So it's really, really important to make sure that we sleep well. So on this cleanse, again, as I said, you may feel less energetic, therefore listen to your body, okay? Slow it down. Or you may feel more energetic, so ramp it up if it feels fine. Many people feel a lessening of their symptoms. Most feel a greater sense of energy and well-being with better sleep. So in the beginning, right in the front, it says, first page, write your name, what you're looking for, and then this side you fill out after to see if you've accomplished that. So I wrote down low energy, stomach, digestive issues I've had for years, sleeping better. So those are some of my goals that hopefully on the other end will be better. So I really implore you to look at that and then fill that out. And even if you do, I started writing down a daily journal of what I was eating. I want to write down how I'm feeling too, how I'm sleeping, just be aware. A lot of times we're not aware of how we're feeling. We're just going through the day. I mean, I know I've had that too. So especially when you don't sleep well and you don't eat well, you don't make healthier choices because you're just so fatigued. So it's not uncommon to feel old symptoms return and be more fatigued as the body detoxifies. Again, that's when you need to pull off of the product for maybe a day, let your body naturally just gradually go through the detox process, get back on it. If you're used to consuming caffeine, refined sugar, or alcohol, you might experience those headaches, a little anxiety, decrease in energy, so that's something that you really need to spend some time working at. So make sure, again, you drink up, have plenty of water, because that actually helps detoxify the body further. A lot of times our headaches are due to not having enough water, being dehydrated. So It also helps prevent muscle and joint pain, bloating, constipation. It will help move the bowels. And helps with the skin turgor. So, you know, if you pick up your skin and it doesn't go down quick enough, typically you're not hydrated enough. So, in the back, there are, where I've highlighted, on page 25, I will turn the lights on so you can see. Oh, yeah. So frequently asked questions. Some of these I've already gone over, some I have not. The first one, if you're pregnant or nursing, you shouldn't use it. Okay. Can I continue the program for more than 3 weeks? Yes, actually, you can continue it. I have a client that loved it because she found that it helped with her cravings. She has sugar cravings, and she found that she was better off sugar and better when she was off flour and glutinous flour. And helped with her allergies as well. And then she just reported to me that her cholesterol and her triglycerides were way down when she cut those out, as well as doing this. So she said, if you can't find that you can get, you know, those 3 times a day when it says, take the time of the day whenever you find that you're going to have those cravings, whether it's the afternoon or the evening. That's when you really want to make sure you take this, because it does have quite a bit of, I think there's the chromium. There's chromium in there, and I don't know if there's vanadium. But, oh yeah, there is vanadium too. So those all help out with blood sugar regulation. She found that that really helped her with her cravings significantly. So she asked me, can I continue this on once a day for the long haul? And I said, it's perfectly fine. You can be using that as your multi/detoxer/protein drink. It is not a meal replacement, though. So when you see in here, when they've, on page 14, when they give you those sample menus, it will be with a meal. Okay, it is with breakfast, 2 scoops. So this morning I had 2 scoops. I had a Kind nut bar that was okay for this. And then I also had later on an apple. And typically I am like ravenous, but by this time, and I haven't even eaten lunch. So I feel like it really is setting in and taking hold, because I typically have more of those, you know, 3 o'clock dips. And what am I going for? Some really good dark chocolate. So that's one of my arch nemesis. I'm trying to, you know, not that dark chocolate's bad, because I usually get to 88 to 90%. So it doesn't have much sugar, but I'm just trying to change my taste buds and just push it in a different direction. And also find out what's bothering me digestively. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, because I did things like that, like where it said something else. I don't know where it was. Yeah, but that's fine, as long as you substitute with. So what's the night? What's oh. Go slow. Just, yeah, make it more accustomed to what's going to fit for you, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, this other woman wasn't always perfect on the 3 weeks, but she definitely felt a huge difference. I'm going to try to be as strict as possible for myself, because I want to see, again, I've fought digestive issues all my life, so I want to see what's really causing the problems. So it says for adults, it is designed for adults and youth older than 12. I'd like to lose a few pounds. Will it help me do this? Again, it's not a weight loss program, but I did talk about the whole detoxing, and probably it will help. The woman that did do it over the 3 weeks lost 7 pounds for herself, so, and then just continued on. Can I take this product if I have diabetes? It is well balanced. Again, you can take it. Just make sure you're checking your blood sugar regularly like you were before. Do I avoid dairy and beef? You just want to make sure you get the ones that don't have the hormones in there, obviously, and just follow the list as it says here. If I'm allergic to rice or peas, this is a rice and pea protein. It says this might not be the product for you. Yes.
I'm sorry, back to the dairy.
There's
Some of us have to have a lot of calcium in their bodies, delicious and so on. Is this answer to this question, basically, saying that you could have dairy, it's like if it's organic?
it's really because they're looking at allergens, so for those 3 weeks they don't want you to have. Yeah, exactly. And it's only a short stint of time. That 3 weeks isn't going to make or break that. So I would try to do the others just to see, because maybe you might be having an issue with dairy. I mean, I grew up on a dairy farm, tons of ear infections until I was about 8. I drank boatloads of milk. Now, was it that? I don't know. Was it my immune system? Probably the combination of the two. But I've really backed off from dairy, and like I said, I only get organic cheese now on occasion. So, and I find that I like the almond milk much better as far as the taste. And I usually, what's that? There is calcium in there, but I think it's D2. So make sure you're still taking your supplements along with that, because I don't think in here, as far as the D, depends on how many times a day you're going to be doing this too. So you have to realize that 2 scoops is what this whole label says. So if we're doing that 3 times a day, so. Right, yep, there's a lot, the greens and all that, yeah. Yeah, it's, the same thing when you're looking at the greens too. There's the oxalic acid that's an issue too. So, yes, I would still, like I said, if you do have the supplement form, to add that in addition to this, just to make sure that it gets up to what you're looking for, just for that 3-week stint. Yes. Yes, I just found the Silk one. Doesn't have any in it. Silk, vanilla, unsweetened, doesn't have any carrageenan in it. And that causes digestive upset, as well as they're now saying cancer. Yeah, unsweetened vanilla, Silk, almond milk. Thanks for bringing that up, by the way, too. Okay, can I use... Let's see. Oh, again, I already said about the constipation. This doesn't have dairy or gluten. Soy sensitivities, it says it does have phosphatidylcholine, which again helps out with the whole liver detox, but it doesn't contain any soy. Most soy sensitive people tolerate it just fine. So if you have an issue though, but it does have phosphatidylcholine in here. I talked about the exercise. Now, it gets further into these products that I'm not even going to be talking about, the shampoos and some of their others as far as the skin, because you obviously know 70% of what you put on your skin goes right into the bloodstream, so you need to stay as pure as possible with the skin products as well. They are all gluten-free. Doesn't have any GMOs, so any of the soy that was used for the phosphatidylcholine, it's no GMOs. And the containers do not have BPA or PVC, silicone, phthalates, any of that stuff in there. So, all right, so live life in a way that improves your health, and that's where we're trying to start, pummel off of that. Be the change you wish to see in the world, and that's one of the things that I love from one of Gandhi's quotes. So this is my information. Again, I have my cards here, and I wanted to mention there's this book, too, if anybody's ever seen it, Chris Carr. I know, I do, too. I saw her on one of the movies we aired, Food Matters. She has a slow-growing cancer. She found out when she was age 30. And they said, there's nothing you can do about it, so just go home. And she said, there's something else I got to do about it. And so she wrote this whole book, and yes, that was her first, yes, Crazy Sexy Cancer. Now she's got all sorts of other books. She's got blogs, and she has her 21-day detox, and I love it. I went through and read it, and I was initially going to do this, and maybe I'll do this in January or so, combining with the other. But yeah, she does have a lot of raw. She gives examples of different foods that you can do, what a week would look like. But I like what she combines into here, and I just want to pass it along. She has different affirmations in here, tips in here for each day as you're doing the cleanse. So it's really cool, and I wanted to incorporate that more for myself. She has 20 questions over 21 days, and so I printed it out for myself. So I'm going to fill this out every day just to see. And if anybody's interested, actually, I could hand them out to you guys. So we can, if you wanted to do it along with it. Yeah, we'll just. Yeah, she's great. She's phenomenal. She is. So if anyone wants, again, this, and you can do it along with it, it's just some questions to ask yourself daily, thinking about mentally where you are, how you're feeling. You don't have to do it with this. I just thought it was kind of cool and to add it on, in with it.